Supplying the hard times, the light in your dark nights.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
It's the Al Tillman Show.
Al Tillman.
Every Thursday at 4:30 p.m.
Right here on the Glory.
Al Tillman.
It's going too far. You think we've gotten too radical with our message? Well, I got news for you. You ain't heard nothing yet.
In R. Kelly news, he threw.
And if you don't know, now you know. Glory, glory.
Y'all ain't ready.
With guest appearances by Miss Maylene.
Don't get me going here.
Tune in every Thursday at 4:30.
Put them hands together.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Al Tillman Show right here on the Glory 107.9 FM.
Begin.
Let's get it on here.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is the Al Tillman Show right here on 107.9 the Glory. That's right. We're streaming live right here on Facebook Live. We are streaming Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, and all that good stuff. It is Thursday, and y'all know this is the end of the summer block party. Welcome to the Al Tillman Show. We're at Fillmore Thomas tonight, putting the guns down, having more fun. We got the bounce houses, the senior citizens versus the youth. Conversation, and that's what we're doing over there at Fillmore Thomas Park, 3793 Log Cabin Drive. It's the park that most folks say Al Tillman built. Mayor Rickett used to say, people act like Al Tillman physically went over there and built it. Well, we met with the families 28 times, and after 20 plus years, I came in office, and that was a goal of mine as a commissioner to get and build Fillmore Thomas Park and to surface Log Cabin Drive. So it is the park that Al Tillman built. Yes, it is. And we'll be there today from 6 to about 8:30 with hot dogs and all that good stuff, pizza. We got frisbees, and it's just bringing music and all of that. Man, we're going to have a great, great time over there with that, and looking forward to it. But today, I want to talk, and I want people to, I'm glad y'all are here, because I want y'all to tune in. Today, I want to get right into it about the show and relationships, and I brought in a special guest with me today. Ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to welcome to the show, the Tennessee State University.
Tennessee State.
The Tennessee State University's patriot.
No patriot.
Matriarch.
No matriarch.
Johnny Hollinshed Jr., how you doing, man?
Definitely not a patriot.
One of the hardest working community servants besides myself that I know.
Definitely not.
Look.
Especially not a matriarch.
You still on that. I'm patting you and myself on the back, man, for the stuff that we do in the community.
Oh, I'm a servant. That's for sure.
If you ain't giving away plates, saving somebody's soul, trying to save somebody's life through COVID, man, you sharing love all the time. Whether it's down at the historic Grant's Lounge, man, with the music, you are one of those people that's always just good folks trying to help somebody.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. And it goes without saying to the citizens of Macon who are honest that you're certainly a servant for the people. And I am so proud that you are and proud to know you. Yeah.
Well, Johnny, I had another guest on, but I said, who better to know about women in relationships?
Oh, my God.
Let me set it. No. The thing is that you encounter so many folks that want to sing and be a part of the entertainment world from all the stuff that you do, man. And so I know you understand relationships. I mean, and so the question today is it possible to love someone whom you never been intimate with? And with that being said, the divorce rate is currently at 44.2%. So people are just getting divorced. And Johnny, can you love somebody? People, and the reason why I ask that question, Johnny, because people always say, is love at first sight real? And then you see these guys, a lot of times it's guys that's jumping the fences and the walls, trying to break in the actress's house. Some of them have been successful in killing people. Versace was one of them that was killed. People have been stabbed, these actors and actors, and they just saying they love them, man. And so I know that and I'll be honest, relationships, man, it can be tricky. So the question is it possible, Johnny, to love someone whom you never been intimate with?
I certainly think it is. There are many examples of a person being in love. You can just go to sometimes and reference how some people will say about a person, man, he's been trying to chase after that girl for 20 years, for 30 years. And so that's more than just liking somebody.
Well,
And
women do the same thing now.
that's what I was going to say. And it's also the same to be said about the opposite sex, that I truly believe that love develops from relationships. And if you're around a person and you watch their way about living life and how they treat others and how they treat themselves and how they treat you, I certainly think that a person can fall in love with someone without being intimate, for
Well,
sure.
well, I have to admit this, and I don't quite often admit this, but I got some confessions today that I'm going to make, Johnny, for the first time.
Okay.
And I think I remember saying this to her, that I used to, before I got married, I always, as a young man, I wanted to be married.
Okay.
When I was like probably 18, 19. For whatever it was, I think my mom wasn't married. She was married to my father, but he died when I was 2 years of age. When I was 2 years of age, and so I never seen that, and so I always just wanted to be married. And I often said that I didn't have to love the woman that I married, and I don't think I was in love with my wife when we married.
Mm,
The idea was, I said I wanted to grow into the marriage and learn, and we grow together. And I think maybe that's why it's lasted this long, along with some other things. Because when children come along, you begin to love them. But I probably love my daughter more than I love anybody, besides God,
right.
and so I can say that and being honest. And then, Johnny, the thing about African American men when it comes to love is that we don't often get it, my brother. Growing up, African American men, I think it has to come from your parents first. People don't know this. My mama, I don't remember my mama ever saying she loved me until I was a grown man, or even hugging me. It felt so uncomfortable. I was in my house, and I remember her hugging me and just feeling so uncomfortable, because I don't know, man. It just was no affection. It was no affection. So that's a true confession that been on my heart and mind. So that's why the question is, because I talk to my son all the time, and I'm trying to teach him about women, and you would think after having a couple of children that you get it and understand it, but it's just difficult, man. Especially in the African American community, the black woman can just be so difficult sometimes.
Well,
And they'll say the same thing about a black male, but I'm gonna touch on something later. But go ahead, John.
I think it's time era sensitive, uh, what you've just described. For the times that we were living in then, um, there was a great emphasis on making sure that your sons would be ready for this mean, evil world, and that they would be able to man up, that they wouldn't be, as they described it then, soft.
Hmm.
So a lot of the way of the parenting then was not very affectionate and emotional. It was more about teaching you how to survive. It was teaching you you got to pay bills. It was teaching you responsibility. It wasn't so much about emotions as seemingly life has become now, and that's why we got all these cancel cultures and all that kind of thing. But then that's a whole nother thing.
Hmm.
But I do think that it was a product. Her behavior was a product of the way that the culture was at that time.
Her who now? Who you talking about?
Your mom.
Oh.
I think that it was making sure that you weren't going to go out here soft and always looking for hugs and that kind of affirmation to move through life.
Johnny, I often wondered about that, and I've been trying to figure it out because one of the things that I've learned is about being an African American and the mindset, because I read a lot and try to understand it. But I often wondered, Johnny, when I'm telling you, as early as 18, 19, I always wanted to be married. Other guys were not thinking about that, man. I grew up with my grandmother, 4 and 5 years old, playing the music, you know. We grew up in Unionville, Booger Bear Bottom, you know, and there was a lot of things going on, entertainment party. You know, we doing stuff in people's houses that we had no business, that you know, kids older than me would should have been in juvenile or going to jail for. You know, sexual activity at a very young age and learning. And then I'm telling you, as a child, I don't remember or recall my mama hugging me or telling me that she loved me. So I don't know what effect that had at age 18, 19, 20, that when I joined the military, I was on a mission. And I remember asking this girl to marry me, and she was like, baby, you don't want to marry me. She was a nurse. And I was like, yes, I do. Because I wanted to get married and just stay in the military. You know, that was the goal. And I'm thinking that was the tradition. But man, it just so many things that's happening. And that's why I'm asking that question. You know, is it possible? Because you hear these stories of folks saying, oh, it was love at first sight. And I see on TV the man's, oh man, we was together 5 months, we were together 6 months, and we got married and we've been together ever since, you know. Johnny?
I honestly do believe.
Has it been love at first sight for you, my brother?
Yeah. And
what?
Yeah. Yeah. I can tell you that in high school.
I think we're supposed to love our parents. We're supposed to love our family member, but you've actually fallen in love. Love at first sight is real.
Yeah, sure is real.
Shirley Luster, he says real. Geraldine Woodford, welcome to the show. We appreciate y'all tuning in. It's real.
It's real, and it's complex. I can say you were just talking about you were revealing something that perhaps you hadn't or didn't commonly talk about.
Right.
Well, let me just say, in my particular coming up, everybody, it was a way of life in my family. My dad had 13 brothers, 2 sisters. My mom had 2 sisters and 2 brothers, and everybody was married. Everybody.
Wow.
Now, and so naturally, I wanted to be married too at a young age, just as you described. But here's the variable. When my mother died she was age 37. I was 18. But she started getting sick and dying when I was 13. And as I watched that, it turned me against being married. Not because I didn't believe in love. And this is something I've discovered about myself lately. Past few years. We have seen so many things. I developed this feeling about the hurt that I saw as a result of my mom dying in a marriage and leaving my dad behind, and the hurt that it caused the children in the family, my father. So something in me changed me from this pursuit, just as you spoke of,
right,
of getting married as soon as I get out of high school.
Well, the question today is it possible to love someone whom you've never been intimate with in today's society?
It is.
And Johnny, here's what I believe. The Black woman is one of the most strongest and powerful women there is. I think they can do things, and they have a spell over men that is just not the norm. And some of them take advantage of it. They know how to push the button and take advantage of it and all of that. Now,
well, I have a reference for you.
And unfortunately, we don't have a woman's perspective, but we can't get some offline when I say what's up to Pastor Lisa Watson. You know, and you know, and so
what you just described started with Eve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's in the Bible.
It's
and
nothing new.
Yeah. But that's man. I say that all the time. Nothing new. No problem that can't be solved or resolved. It's gamesmanship. Women mature faster than men, and I just believe that. And so the thing is, these young guys, man, and I'm gonna bring it back to the shooting and the killing, Johnny. That I think the mamas, grandmamas, and the aunties have more power than they realize that can stop this violence and this shooting.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and I think part of the problem is they want to be so protective of the man and the male because he grew up. Think about this, Johnny. As an African American man, we're supposed to be a dominant figure. But during slavery, when the white master came around on his horse or his buggy, he would embarrass us and make us submit and do things right in front of our woman. And we sitting there, yes, sir, please don't kill me, sir. Please don't kill me, sir. And the wife is begging, don't hurt him, don't hurt him. And he's on his knees and everything. But then when slavery is over and he's grown up, all of a sudden he's abusive to his woman now. He's mad and angry at his woman now. He'll hit his woman. You know, think about that. But the white slave master humbled him in front of his child and his woman, his wife. He would fall on his knees and beg the white master, don't hurt me, sir. Please, sir, don't kill me, sir. But yet brothers today are shooting each other like it's nothing, man. And that's why I say the power, I believe, is in the woman, that the mama, the auntie, and the grandmama who's harboring the murderer, the abuser, because she love him so much that she will allow, come on in this house, boy, they looking for you. Go in that bedroom. The police here looking for you. And we will hide in him. He just shot and killed a child in a drive-by shooting. But mama, grandmama, the girlfriend, the wife will hide him, man, because they want to be so protective of the black man. That's why we can't stop black on black crime.
You can just get in your car right now and drive around, and you will see so many 30, 35, 40-year-old black men living in the house with their single mothers, because the households who have fathers in them, he's not going to allow this dude with more hair on his face to be living up under his roof.
Well, Johnny, what has happened is the government changed that rule. See, the fathers are separated from the house home because they gave our black women a home and said, you can stay here with the child, but the daddy now got to sneak in the back door.
All right.
Pastor Watson said, is what the scripture called a good thing, too. You know, we got to sneak in through the back door because the government says, oh, just the mom and the child can stay here. If the daddy comes in here, he's making too much money, so you can't stay here. So they split and divide the family. Well, how did she get the child? She got the child from a male.
Sure.
But we're dividing the family. And so that's why the question is it possible to love someone whom you've never been intimate with?
Yeah.
And you say yes.
I surely, truly think it's possible.
That's all. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Al Tillman with the Al Tillman Show right here on 107.9. My guest today is Johnny Hollenshed Jr. You can share this show right now. The Glory, we're on Facebook. You can tune in right now. You can go to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, all of that good stuff. When we come back, we're going to hear from Miss Maylene. We're going to keep this conversation going with Johnny Hollenshed Jr. Don't you go nowhere. We'll be right back. This is Al Tillman.
Why, my black brother? Why are you killing one?
You don't.
Your AK-47, the Magnum. Do they really fit your profile? Is that what you're all about? Why is it that you're not concerned with your education? Where will you be 20 years from now? Why must you become involved in a game? What does the color that I wear have to do with who I am? Do you think it's cool to wear your pants down to your knees? Is it okay to call a female out of her name? Why have you become so violent? What goes through your mind when committing a drive-by shooting where so many times innocent children as well as adults lose their lives? What has happened in your young life to bring you to this point? Let's come together and reason. We must rebuild our neighborhoods and our schools. Perhaps we must begin by rebuilding within ourselves. Together, we're able to make a difference. So in closing, I ask, why not, my brother? Why not?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Al Tillman. Welcome back to the Al Tillman Show. I'm sitting here with Johnny Hollinshed Jr. And the question is it possible to love someone whom you've never been intimate with? And if that is the case, then why is the divorce rate so high at 44.2%? Johnny Hollinshed is here, and we're just having a conversation. We no disrespect to anybody.
That's right.
But it's a lot of stuff that is variable that I think happens that we have to fight harder, man, and that the women are more powerful and stronger than the black male.
And just let me put this disclaimer out. I am not Steve Harvey. Okay.
Well, if you were Steve Harvey, you're an expert because you can be married 3 times and then tell everybody else how to run their relationship.
That kills me. But then some people are going to say, well, how are you qualified to talk about relationships because you've never been married? And what do you know about sustaining a relationship? But I say to all of you, Jesus was never married either.
Wow, that's a great point. Yeah. Let me say what's up to Ricky Crawford, man. Hey, man, we're going to be over at Fillmore Thomas Park today from 6 p.m. to 8:30. We've got free food, man. I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out the bag. We got a special guest coming today, man. Okay. Nobody knows it. The Bibb County School Superintendent is going to be in the house.
Oh, that's awesome.
We hadn't told anybody. 13 WMAZ, all the news stations are going to be out there. I'm hoping the rain holds off, Pastor Watson, and they're making this thing a big thing. So y'all get over to Fillmore Thomas Park on Log Cabin Drive. That's where we're going to be at today, man. Fun without the guns, trying to stop brothers from shooting and killing each other. And I think the black woman who's been harboring the black man for so long, we have to speak truth to power and say, Grandmama, it's time to put him out and turn him in, you know?
Yeah,
you know?
I agree with
you
that
love
totally.
him. You love him so much that you'll let him do a drive-by on a child and say, hide in the back bedroom, boy, they looking for you. We love him so much, man, that the auntie will say that, you know. But in the words of Miss Maylene, what love got to do with it? Johnny Hollinshed, don't you go nowhere, man. We want to hear from Miss Maylene. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, everybody's favorite auntie, Miss Maylene. What you got to say, lady?
And Tina Turner, baby, she knows it. See, your heart ain't the only one been broken, y'all. You hear me? Everybody's heart been broken. Your mama ain't hug you until you were grown.
Mm-hmm.
Your daddy ain't hug you and been there. Your grandmama ain't hug because they was out trying to make ends meet. They were slaves for so long that when they got free, baby, they didn't want to just run around and hold their arms out. They didn't want to hug you. They didn't know how to hug.
That's right.
They was free. And they said, I's free. Because the slave.
Break it down.
All that stuff is in us and it's been in us for so long that we got to learn how to love one another. That's why it's so much shooting and killing. We got to learn how to love each other.
Yeah.
Everybody trying to get ahead of the game instead of trying to learn the game. You got to learn the game before you get ahead of it.
Okay.
And we got to teach our children and our babies.
What?
Right now.
Okay.
We can't wait till they get 12 and 13. The little girls is getting pregnant at age 10, baby.
I saw that.
Y'all ain't watching it on the C and the N and the N?
We saw that.
And the M and the S's and the NB and the C?
MSNBC.
The babies are getting pregnant at age 10 by grown perverted men. You're waiting too long to share loving.
Mm-hmm.
That's why these boys and girls out here shooting and killing each other in a drive-by. Don't care who in the house. Don't care what the baby is in the house. Because ain't nobody showed them how to love, Al. Mm-hmm. You ain't the only one. And there's many more out there. And you have to share and tell your story. Because we don't talk about this stuff enough. We got to start talking, baby.
Yeah.
And having a communication.
Miss Layling, get serious.
Relationships, whether you with your mama, your cousin, your friend, your uncle, your auntie, your granddaddy, your great-granddaddy, your great-grandmama, somebody got to start having some conversation. You got to tell them how to vote. when you're sitting around the dinner table.
Yes.
You got to tell them about the lowdown, you got to tell them about the Republicans, and then you got to tell them about the Democrats, and even those people that's pretending to be the independents. You got to have conversations about sexual orientation, the clothes that the little girls wear. You got to teach them the manners and the etiquette and the respect for themselves. Wow. Everybody gonna fall in love, baby, more than one time. If you live long enough, here.
Yes, ma'am.
I knows it all. You seen Tina Turner? She was in love with a man so long, she was the star. And all he did was beat up and take her money. Y'all not the first ones that done been through this. Tina Turner been telling y'all a long time ago. She told y'all. Tell them again, Tina. What's love got to do with it?
What does it have to do with it?
Now, I ain't going to stay on here and dwell too long because y'all need to be teaching and reaching and helping folks, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I can't help and save all y'all. The love is a strong, strong word.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And you don't use it loosely, baby. Count down now, binding, know you're being like me. Uh-huh. Now, I got to go and give Mr. Willis some love. Because if I don't, them young girls on Thursday evening, they'll try to get his check. So what y'all need to learn how to do is talk to your children. Talk to your babies. When you're sitting around, 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds. Don't wait till they get 15 and 16 after he done got the baby. After he done fell in love and he crying and don't know what to do. They committing suicide. They stealing your car. They stealing your money out your pocketbook. They giving it to the little boy. They giving it to the little girl because they think they's in love. They not in love, baby. They in lust. And lust and love is two different things. Oh, I got to go. My time is up.
Your time is up.
Well, this Miss Maylene, and I'll see y'all next time, baby. You hear?
All right.
Y'all hear me? Tina, do you hear me? Y'all keep listening to Tina Turner, baby, because she told y'all from the beginning.
What she said.
Yeah, you said some good stuff.
Tell him again, Tina.
Wow. Miss Maylene.
Yes, baby.
You feeling that, huh?
Y'all ain't the only one been in love. Miss Maylene been in love, baby.
Uh-huh.
Oh!
You better watch out now, Miss Maylene. Can't be dancing like that up here, Miss Maylene.
Wow. Miss Maylene said, what's love got to do with it? Johnny?
Up here cutting the rug, too.
Man. Thank you, Miss Maylene.
Don't break their heart, Tina.
Johnny,
relationships are certainly
hey, man, there you go.
Are the key. And it goes with parenting and the children. I think more parents have to become more involved with their children in every way. Mm-hmm. If you're going to give them a tablet, a phone, a television remote, and allow them to watch and pick and choose what they watch, you need to watch it with them so you can know what they're watching, because programming now is definitely not like it used to be.
Man, that was some powerful love, not lust, not love.
No,
lust versus love.
Not the same thing.
Yeah, not the same thing.
Not the same thing.
And the original question was, are you in love and you ain't been intimate?
It's very much possible.
Well, Johnny Hollinshed, you're going to be probably hosting for the next couple of weeks here on the Al Tillman Show, coming to you at 4:30 right here on WDDO. Man, it is just, we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope. Man, listen, we're going to be over at Fillmore Thomas Park today at 6 o'clock. I'm going to get over there now and help set up, man. I'm going to leave it in your hands.
Has anybody who's listening ever been in love at first sight? And if so, shoot some comments up there and tell us about that experience, you know? Yeah. I'm sure somebody besides me and and just talk about relationships and why you think they're successful, why you think they're failing. Like you said, divorce rate is 44%.
Yeah, 44.2%. Yeah. Yep.
That's a very telling stat.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, when we come back, we're going to turn it over to Johnny Hollinshed. We'll be back in a minute. This is Al Tillman, the Al Tillman Show, and we'll be right back.
Hey, what's happening, man? It's T.I., the King speaking. And as we all know, I've not always made the right choices in life, but I'm still learning and growing from the choices and the mistakes that I've made. Be smart and make the correct choice. Join Al Tillman, the Unity and Community family, along with me, T.I., and choose not to join gangs, do drugs, or use guns. Make the right choice, and you can have whatever you like in life. Go online and download a brochure today at www.unitytoday.com and tell them T.I. sent
you. Yeah, that's T.I. I want to play this song right here, man, from OG Bro Mike. God loves him so much, he changed his life, man. Brother here from Pleasant Hill. Check it out, man.
What time does your thing start? At 6.
Yeah. I done been through so much in my life. God, you were with me through it all. You never turned your back on me. You never gave up on me. I love you so much. Yeah. Born and raised in Macon, Georgia, I grew up in Pleasant Hill. I want to give you something you can feel and keep it real. Around age 15, my homies taught me how to deal. A lot of drugs, but they didn't teach me how to live. For the true and living God, the one that put me here. For the forgiving God, the one that will bring me near. He will bring me close, he will wipe away every tear. Falling down my face, he can take away every fear. Nah, but my homies didn't tell me about that. They just told me get this money, smoke weed, sell crack, sex as many girls as you can. Dog, chase the cat, drop out of school, you can get more money in the trap. Talk about money, sex, and drugs when you rap. Talk about gang banging and shooting at your enemies. All this negative energy around me. Who you expect me to hold? You changed my life, and I love you so much. Yeah. God, you saved my life, and I love you so much, so much, so much. So much, so much, so much. God, you changed my life, and I love you so much. God, you saved my life, and I love you so much, so much, so much. So much, so much, so much. All black on, running the streets. Young king, I was affiliated with the G's. I started robbing at the age of 16. Got locked up and charged with 4 felonies. Armed robbery, kidnapping, and another armed robbery. It was me, B, Rich, and Dunn Straw. We were teens, facing about 50 years. How can this be? Oh God, mercy me. Think I threw my life away, but you caught it in the air and said I give you like the day. February 19, 2005. You opened my eyes and came into my heart right away. I was living the darkest nights. You gave me brighter days. I was so amazed, overcame me tidal wave. I was cold, I was froze, you set my heart ablaze. I mess up often, but will worship you for the rest of my days. My life, and I love you so much. Yeah, God, you saved my life, and I love you so much, so much, so much. So much, so much, so much. God, you changed my life, and I love you so much. God, you saved my life, and I love you so much, so much, so much. So much, so much.
That is a very, very current message that is so needed. We've just got to change over and adapt to the things that he's talking about. He's talking about love. And he's talking about love with one another in this community. What a great, great song. Just like to say once again, thank you to Commissioner Al Tillman for thinking it not robbery to have me come in and join him on this day to do this awesome radio show. And as usual, he's on the move, doing his best to be a servant in this community. He's headed over to Fillmore Thomas Park over in Bellevue. He's revealed that the superintendent is going to be there. So seems like to me, if you're a person that is concerned with the education here in the city of Macon, that's a good place to go today. There's the jumping the bouncy house and some food and other things that are going to be happening there that all centered around fun and education and just good times. So again, as a representative and as a member of the Macon, Georgia community, we'd like to say thank you for being active with your service. There are a lot of people who make decisions that they're going to do a lot of different things, but until you act on those decisions, well, they're just thoughts. Great thoughts, but we need more action. And so we just want to make sure that we acknowledge how appreciative we are of the actions that Commissioner Al Tillman constantly makes with unity in the community and from his post as servant elected official of Macon, Georgia. The subject matter here today that Commissioner Tillman chose was about relationships, and the most poignant point of it was, can you fall in love at first sight? Can you fall in love with a man or a woman that you've never been intimate with physically? And is that achievable? Well, I'll say yes. Certainly would like to hear from some of you out there listening. It will be a joy to hear what some of the thoughts are of you, or especially if you've had that experience and maybe there's somebody out there that thought that they were experiencing that particular feeling and found out later that it wasn't. I know there are many examples of people who thought that they were in love at first sight. So I've heard over the years. And once they got to know each other, then they started finding out that what they were enchanted with was a representative of that person. So I do think that an honest presentation has a lot to do with whether that initial feeling that you can have upon meeting someone has a whole lot to do with sustaining that initial feeling. Lisa Watson, minister, has been involved with us here. Just wondering, have you ever experienced love at first sight? Was that your experience as you moved through life here today? If there's some other subject matter that you would like to join this radio show with, we certainly welcome it. I know one thing that's off subject that I wanted to acknowledge, that I'm very excited about something that I've been talking about for years, and it has to do with, in my mind and estimation, relationships as well. There's a very strong history of us saying that we pick and choose certain people or to represent us, or deny certain people to represent us because of how we look or because of our past, and we are not chosen sometimes, even though we have achieved or done an act that deserves recognition. But if we're not pleasing to the eye, perhaps, or the powers that be don't feel like we are marketable for the cause, we're passed over. And a great example of that is happening right now with Claudette Colvin, who in truth, as a 15-year-old girl, was the first person that was recorded that refused to give up her seat in Montgomery, Alabama. So as we've been taught for so many years that it was Rosa Parks, now we have coming to the forefront that in truth, it was actually Claudette Colvin, and there's reasoning being revealed behind why she wasn't highlighted as that person. There are many reports that say because of the complexion of her skin. So now, here we are talking about complexion, but these are not Caucasian or white folk that were denying her because of her complexion. These were our brothers and sisters of the same race, basing their denial to use her in her truth as the poster child for that movement because of her dark skin, because I understand it that she was pregnant at the time, that she wasn't marketable. And so some months later, Rosa Parks did the same act. There are some that say the act of Claudette Colvin was staged for Rosa Parks. And certainly we are very satisfied with the results of the movement. So let's not conflict the two. But I happened to see a story today that involved Claudette Colvin on the CBS Morning Show. And they had her on, and they were showing her with conversation with Kamala Harris, with the judge that expunged her juvenile record. And it was quite a thing to witness. It was very touching. They had the 15-year-old actress who is going to be portraying Claudette Colvin on that show this morning, and the interaction between that 15-year-old actress and Claudette Colvin was quite moving. And to see Claudette Colvin telling this young girl, make sure that when you are acting the role of me, make sure you deliver these lines with the passion that I did when I was on the stand, when I was telling them that I was doing right, that I was standing up for my rights as an American, not just as a young Black girl, but just as an American. And so it illuminates how there's so much of our history that has been skewed not just by white Americans, but our history has been skewed by our own brothers and sisters. So truth has become more prevalent in order to move forward. Truth in relationships, I'm sure, will bring about more successful relationships. Lisa Watson has a question. Do you think more notoriety is given to Rosa Parks today because the boycott was attached to her, along with Dr. King? Of course, absolutely. And that's why the notoriety wasn't given to Claudette Colvin. And it's sad in my estimation. And I'm sure many of us go through life here on local levels, within our own experience, where there have been many things that we've done or we've seen other people do and watch as other people receive all of the credit for it. That goes through government, that goes through everyday life, that goes through our family life, our church experience. It goes through our job experience. And I think that creates a lot of challenges with relationships, whether they're personal relationships, whether they're relationships in marriage, relationships in friendship, relationships in business. There has to be more truth and more honesty in our relationships, in what we teach our children, and what we share and teach with each other. Lisa Watson says, that's why I believe we need to work hard to share as much history, including Black history, as possible. Just a question for you, Lisa. Do you think that's why the critical race theory is met with so much opposition, Desmond Brown? Do you think that it will reveal more truth in the history of our country, in relationships with white America and Black America, and not just so much with white America, but do you think it will expose more as to why Blacks don't get along in their neighborhoods? That if more history is shared about how Blacks have treated each other throughout the years, do you think that will reveal more and give us more insight on why there's such conflict within the Black race amongst each other? That there's been a lot of misinformation given about how we've treated one another. Because I am one who does not believe that the cause of all of disenchantment within the Black neighborhood has been caused by outside forces. What do you think about that, Desmond? What do you think about that, Lisa? Do you think there's any truth in mistruths being passed on within our own race about our own treatment of one another that has caused so much discourse? Just would like to hear about that now. Desmond says, as a culture of Blacks, we have been raised to accept the crab mentality. Now that's interesting. Now, but there's a certain generation that understands when you say crab mentality. But for those of Generation Z and Generation X, Generation Y, what does the crab reference mean when we say the crab mentality? Yeah, I agree, Lisa Watson. We do have a lot of work inside and outside. And God knows self-inventory seems to be so lacking, because just as that one, we always stress that that one singular vote is so important and so important and needed and vital. That's the word I'm looking for. That one vote is so vital in changing the course of our present predicaments. I think it's the same as relationships, because a lot of times in relationships, we're so busy trying to fix other folk that we don't do self-inventory. And I think that, and because that's where I am, I've been spending a lot of time lately trying to search myself and make sure that each time I go into that room when I'm alone and start assessing myself, 6 months ago, have I moved forward? Am I still in the same place, or have I regressed? And how honest am I about me? even when discussing relationships, I think, like for me, there comes a time when I feel inadequate. There are some times when, and this is just to be truth, I think that there's been some times over my existence that I've denied myself successful relationships because I felt like I'm behind on my achievement. I don't think that because of some bad choices that I've made in my development, that I'm not where I should be at my age. And so I feel inadequate when I step into a room with some who haven't made some of the mistakes that I've made. And there have been times when I've denied myself what I've been told could have been a very wonderful and prosperous relationship that I closed myself off to. So I would encourage people that even if you feel like you should be more advanced in your life and should have done more, should have achieved more, I think you should give the other person that is the prospective person to be in a relationship with you. I think that instead of turning away from them or closing out the relationship, I think that if you try being honest, you'll find that you might find some reception with that person that you want to pursue. I don't think the door would close, as I've been guilty of a few times in my life. That's just been my personal experience. And I think that would be the experience of others going forth. So, in other words, don't be so hard on yourself because you are not your past. And just because you haven't caught up to where you thought you should be, but if you are moving forward, that qualifies you to be accepted, I think, by some people that you might think might not accept you. But yeah, getting back to us and the high crime in this area are something that Commissioner Al Tillman touched on that I think is so very important, and so many people don't want to talk about certain things. But we've got to become less emotional in the way that we listen. I think we listen sometimes with an emotional ear instead of a practical ear. Practicality says if you know somebody's just shot up a neighborhood looking for some other teenage boy or 20 or 30-year-old man or whatever, that they've got conflict, and you know this is a person just shot up a little 3-year-old baby or shot up an elderly lady, and you know they did it. It is time out for hiding them, giving them safe place. It is time for us to be responsible as well. Make the practical choices and not be so submissive to the emotional choice. The love that you have is not going to dissipate and go away. And you're not going to be able to ever have that person rebuild and recover and become a better person if they never face the actuality of the now. So it's all about love. And love is universal. And sure, we know that everybody does not believe in God. Surely they are agnostics, they're atheists, they're non-believers. There are people who have gods that are not representative of the God that I, many others serve. To some people, a chair is their God. To some people, a football is their God. But those of us who believe in a God that is a God of love, then we cannot just be carriers of love.
Connecting the community through gospel.
Love isn't love until you give it away. We'll see you next time with your host, Commissioner Al Tillman. Again, he's out being a servant for the citizens of Macon over at Fillmore Thomas Park. Get over there. He's got the superintendent of schools there. We'd like to say good evening, goodbye to you this evening. Be safe. Share love. It is the key to healing. Goodbye, everybody.
Glover Memorial Mortuary, located at 3241 Houston Avenue in South Macon.